The plaintiff, Tamika Tillman, claims she was nearly burned alive in a car she purchased from the defendants. Mark and Wendy Whitman, the defendants, say they gave the plaintiff a great deal on that car and say they had no idea there was any trouble brewing under the hood.
Ms. Tillman, you're suing the Whitmans for $5,000, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
That is for a car which you purchased from them that later caught a fire and blew up?
Yes.
Within 16 days?
Yes.
Tell me what happened to this car you purchased.
Okay, Your Honor. I purchased a 1992 white Pontiac Bonneville from Mr. and Miss Mark and Wendy Whitman, and I thought it was my dream car, Your Honor. I found it in the paper. I went to check the car out. It was a beautiful car. He told me that it was an immaculate car, great shape, no problems out of the car.
So it was in excellent condition?
It was excellent condition.
You say immaculate.
All it had was high white miles. And I gave him $5,000, Miss Whitman, $5,000 cash, and we wrote out a contract. And I took the car with me. 2 or 3 days after I had this car, the car went dead. So I called Mr. Whitman after I had it checked out by a service guy. I paid him $60 to check the car out, and he told me that the car needed an alternator and a battery. So I called Mr. Whitman, and I told him what the car needed, and I figured since I still owed him $500, if we could lower the price, since I only had the car for a few days. He said, well, there's nothing I can do. It's probably a lot of more things that's going to go wrong with the car.
Is that what he told you? Is that what you told her, sir?
Excuse me, Your Honor, that's a blatant lie.
What did you say when she asked you about lowering the price and offsetting what she owed versus the battery and alternator she had to replace?
That I gave her a good deal on the car.
Okay, so you refused to do it. Go ahead.
So I decided to get the alternator fixed myself. So I got the alternator fixed on a Friday, which was February 26th. February 28th, my girlfriend asked me if I could take her to Chicago to pick up her boyfriend. I said yes. Okay, so me, my 1-year-old daughter, my 5-year-old son, and my girlfriend, we jumped in the car and we went to Chicago. On the way to Chicago, we had no problems. On the way home, which at the time we picked up 2 others, which was her boyfriend and his cousin. And I noticed the car started driving kind of swervy and out of the ordinary. So at the time, I was looking through the rearview mirror, but at the same time, one of the backseat passengers were hollering, stop the car, the car is on fire. So at the time, I looked through the rearview mirror, the car was on fire. I looked to the left, which I was in the left lane doing 65 miles an hour, and there was a brick wall. I tried to accelerate, no acceleration. I tried to brake, no brakes. So the car got to 40 miles an hour. I said, well, Lord, if I hit the wall, we're going to blow up, but if I throw it in park, we might survive. I threw the car in park at 40 miles an hour, and everybody flew to the front of the car. And everybody jumping out the car, and I'm screaming, grab my kids, grab my kids. And I looked back, and my friend was grabbing my son out the car, and his hood was on fire. And I'm trying to get out the car to grab my baby out the car, and I tried to get her out the car seat, and I couldn't get her out the car seat. And I had to take the whole car seat and run, and within few feet of the car, few feet away from the car just exploded, and I was running for my life. I thought we were all gonna burn alive. And I called Mr. Whitman, and I explained this story to him, and all he told me was, I apologize, and all I can do is waive the $500 if you send me pictures of the car, Your Honor. And he hung the phone up on me.
Is that true, sir? You hung the phone up on him?
He said, I don't want to talk about it anymore. This is all I have to say. I can't compensate you anything. And he hung up on me.
This car is burned to a crisp.
The case of the bonfire in the Bonneville continues right after this.
Instead, she called back saying that the car had problems. Well, at this point, I began to think that this was a scam.
If you're in disagreement about money, property, unpaid child support, or have an unsettled dispute, no lawyer fees or big legal hassles. Just call Judge Mathis at 1-888-VERDICT. Tamika Tillman claims the defendant sold her a car that nearly killed her family.
What do you have to say, Mr. Mathis?
Your Honor, first of all, we had owned that car for 4 years, and it had served us very well. The car was very well taken care of and very well maintained. And Ms. Tillman had even brought somebody out with her to look at the car before she purchased it. and that gentleman felt that it was a good enough car for her to purchase. So she
How
had
did he look at it? What did he do?
Well, they took it for a test drive, and he looked the car over. We sold the car in good faith, and we even gave Miss Tillman a good deal on the car, and we didn't expect payment in full. We allowed her to write a check for the car, to hold the car, and then afterwards come back and give us the cash.
But you know, a lot of times people do that, Mr. Whitman, when they know that the car's faulty and they're trying to dump it quickly.
Your Honor, if we were trying to give a... Go ahead.
I was just going to say that we had put in the agreement that she could pay $500 a month later when she had the rest of the money. And if we in any way felt there was a problem with the car, we would have not put in that type of an agreement. We would have wanted to just be rid of it. We had no idea there was anything wrong with the car.
So anyway, when we sold the car to her, when she called me back a couple weeks later, we thought she was going to call and say that it was okay to cash the $500 check, which she had written. Instead, she called back saying that the car had problems. Well, at this point, I began to think that this was a scam, that she didn't want to pay this other $500.
This was after the car had burned up?
No.
No, this is before the car had burned up. She had taken it to get the alternator
And the
fixed,
battery?
And the battery
And you thought she was scamming for an alternator and a battery?
No, I thought that she was scamming not to pay the $500 because she wanted the price lowered on the $500.
Why?
At that
Why
time.
did you think that?
Excuse me, Your Honor?
Why? Why did you just automatically think the woman was scamming you when she called and said your battery and your alternator is not working? Would you offset the replacement against what I owe you? Why did you have to automatically think she was scamming you?
Because it happens every day, Your Honor, and I had no receipts or anything
Happens to
for her
you
to show
every
it.
day?
No, it doesn't.
It happens to people. But
It
we had
happens
no
to people.
receipts or proof that this was the case.
And you didn't ask for any.
So not long after that, she called me and she said that the car had burnt up. And I did express remorse. I'm happy that her and her children are okay.
You didn't
Your Honor,
accuse her of
that's
being
not true.
scamming again, did you?
I didn't even accuse her at
All
that
right.
point of it being a scam. But what I did say to her is that that's what you have car insurance for, to replace a vehicle.
Your Honor, that's not true.
Hold on, ma'am. Let him finish hanging himself.
What I'm saying is that I didn't sell that car to her in bad faith, and that if I bought a car from somebody, I wouldn't go to them asking for them to replace the price of the vehicle.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I also have a witness here. He's a private investigator, arsonist, and I hired him at the time after the fire to determine the cause of the fire. And I would like him to stand if he could.
Okay. Go ahead. Finish your defense, sir, before I go to her expert witness.
As far as what happened to the car, anything could have happened to the car after we purchased it. She could have put racing fuel in the car. I don't know what happened to the car or what she did to the car. She obviously had it repaired. I don't know if those repairs contributed to what happened
What do you
to
mean
the car.
she obviously had it repaired? You just said you thought she was scamming. Now, obviously, she had it repaired.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Right.
She said she had it repaired.
Right. You can't have it both ways. You just said
Okay.
you disbelieved it. You thought she was scamming when she
what
said
I'm
it.
saying, Your Honor, is that at that point, I didn't know if she was or not, but a red flag went up in my mind.
But when it became convenient to blame it on the negligent repair of the alternator, that's when you suddenly wanted to believe it. Oh, I'll believe it now because I want to be able to blame the repairman for this fire. But when she first told you that she had to have the alternator and the battery repair, I don't believe it because she's a scam artist. Come on, Mr. Expert Witness, what do you want to tell us today? Your name?
My name is Don Hayworth. I'm a licensed private investigator in Indiana and Illinois, Your Honor. I've been licensed at about 18 years. I've conducted over 300 arson investigations, from residents to boats to airplanes to vehicles. What I found out on the vehicle itself was that the fire ignited at the starter, on the starter, and the catalytic converter.
And would this problem have developed within that 16-day period, in your expert opinion?
It was a developmental problem prior to the 16 days.
So in your professional opinion, this problem already existed at the time she purchased it 16 days earlier?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I have no further questions of you, sir. And I'll be back with a decision shortly.
Did the defendants unload a lemon? Judge Mathis rules next. And later today,
I have a tape of her on my answer machine saying that she still cares. that
She wants you
loves-
back,
Yes.
is what you're saying.
Yes, she does.
The court of Judge Mathis is now in session.
So again, Ms. Tillman, you're suing Mr. and Mrs. Whitman for $5,000. You're alleged to have purchased a car. 16 days later, that car caught fire and was totally destroyed. Mr. Whitman's defense is that you purchased the car as is, and you were informed that it was purchased as is. Although the as-is purchase of a car law is pretty clear, there are some other laws relating to the sale and contract of goods that involve an implied warranty. In other words, when you purchase something from someone, there's an implied warranty that that item being purchased can be used for the purpose intended. Secondly, sir, there's also a theory in the law referred to as misrepresentation, meaning if you represent an item you're selling to someone as being in good condition, and it turns out that it was not in good condition, and she said, and you agreed, that was the first thing out of her mouth, and you affirmed that, yeah, I told her it was in immaculate condition, I told her it was in great shape. You continued to tell me how well it ran for you all for 4 years, and you represented that to her when you sold it to her. However, I have an expert witness whom she brought up who testified that his evaluation determined that it was not in excellent condition when you sold it to them, that indeed it was defective when you sold it. So whether you intentionally misrepresented or negligently misrepresented that sale, the bottom line is you misrepresented the condition of that vehicle. Therefore, sir, I am going to hold you accountable and ask that you return her money. That is my decision, $5,000 to the plaintiff. Have a good day.
What gave you the idea to get an arson investigator in on the case?
I was devastated to get my money back, and after I spoke with him, he hung up. And I also went to a lawyer. He told me the best thing to do was hire a private investigator so we could determine the cause of the fire before we take it to court.
We did feel bad about it. And like she said, we'd feel bad if it happened to us, too.